everyone. I'm here with Mr. Cinco. We had a good day today. They're actually doing Welcome to the most interesting news in the world. I'm too busy looking at the least interesting news in the world to look directly into the camera. So, welcome everyone to another edition of the most interesting news in the world with your host and anchorman, Connor Hill. What have I been anchoring recently? Well, you know, it's interesting. I kind of thought that I was going to do this show as like a most interesting news. Like we were going to talk about what was going on in the world. And we are. Only not what I thought it was going to be, and probably not what you think it is, just by the name of the show. But boy, I got to tell you, I look at a lot of stuff on the news. And the most interesting news in the world to me is last weekend's freaking 9 trannies class here in Houston, Texas. It was hot, and not because of the temperatures in Houston, because those are also hot, but this class was OMG, holy freaking cow. I mean, like my first freaking class, and I'm saying freaking because it's like news channel, so I'm not going to go for the gold, that you have to come to a class for. And apologies for my crying son in the background. He's, 4 months old and he hasn't slept much today. It's a weird day, which is really funny because when I said to him, I'm like, it's just a weird day today. He goes, agu, which I learned today. Agu means I approve. So that's what's going on today. Sebastian's just not having an easy day with sleeping. I guess every day is kind of a weird day of spirit, fate, or destiny, which is the original meaning of weird. So, the most interesting news from this 9 trainees class, 9 trainees being not people that change their sexual orientation, more about trans, well, there's a whole lot of them. There's 9 words that start with trans, and it all has to do with magical powers. It's super cool. It's like sci-fi shit. I know I wasn't supposed to say shit on the news, but this isn't like public. This isn't like normal news. This is like different kind of news. So we can go for shit. We just can't say that. We have to go with frickin', unless I don't. And then we're different. So welcome to all of you in Turkey, and welcome to anyone else in the world who's joining in, and welcome to anybody that speaks English, because we don't have a Turkish translator today. And if you do speak Turkish and not English, just keep listening. Someday you might just notice you're understanding what I'm saying. That day might be today. So, because that's one of the 9 trainees, is to be able to hear languages without speaking them, kind of a thing. I mean, you could probably speak them too, if that makes any sense. Kind of like I just did with my son, like agu. I'm like, that sounds like approval now that I get it. Because I kept trying to repeat it. He would be like, agu, and I'd be like, agu, and he would be like, I'm not saying it again. And I'm like, well, why not? That's our game. We play repeat, right? No, he's like, I approve, and I do not approve of repeat game. Like, get to the point. Come on, this wouldn't be news if we didn't delay the best stuff until the very end to force you to stick around. Oh no, here comes my air conditioning, the loudest air conditioning in the world. Yep, loudest air conditioning in the world. There you go. Probably not. I'm sure there's something much louder. So, at the 9 trainees class, boy, did we kind of talk about a lot of really cool stuff. And some of the stuff I've already talked about on this show called the Big 5. And I really give you guys way too much on this show. Sorry. But this class, OMG, instead of telling you about what we talked at this class, I'm going to tell you what I got from it. So I am going to, let's go back. Let's take a step back. 2013, so literally a decade ago was my first advanced access consciousness class. What's an advanced class? It's a class that's more than 2 days long with an advanced facilitator like Gary Douglas or Dane here or Simone Milosis, and all three of them are facilitating this class. And the class, so my first advanced class was then, and the class was only 2.5 hours per day. And yet it is the most dynamic class I've had to date yet so far. WTF? How is that possible? Oh, wait, right. It's called the 9 Trannies. It's all about sci-fi stuff and like stuff that's magical and stuff that, you know, is fantasy and not supposed to happen in this reality. Oh my God, how cool is that? And then everybody goes around, those people are crazy. They think they can do, you know, sci-fi stuff. I'm like, yeah, but you watch the movies and you think that you're, oh, that's so entertaining. Wouldn't that be cool? I'm like, I don't think wouldn't it just be cool? I do think it would be cool. And I'm going to fucking go, oops, I did it. I dropped the gold. Gotta have some gold in your life sometime. I'm going to do and be whatever the heck it takes to create that. Oh, now that feels good. Yeah. Let's do this. So if y'all have never heard of Access Consciousness, we have one really, really cool tool. I don't even know if it's a tool because you already have it. You just never pay attention to it. And it's everything that is light for you is true, or everything that is true for you is light. There we go. And everything that is heavy for you is a lie. So if it feels really good in your body, when I say, boy, I'm going to do and be whatever it takes to have that sci-fi stuff, to have that stuff beyond anything I ever thought was possible. Wow. That feels light. Or if I say, that's not possible, for me, that feels heavy. So I'm like, that's not true. So apparently it is. And I've done some of it already, and I am not going to tell any of you that here because you got to pay me a heck of a lot more money than showing up on a YouTube channel to get that information out of me. Yeah. And you're like, why? You should give it to me for free. I'm like, no. Did you go to college for free? And if you did, somebody foot the bill. There you go. So, like I said, 2.5 hours per day. When I did my first advanced class a decade ago, more than a decade ago, class was like 12 hours long because it needs to be, because you must work hard. Right. So if your point of view is that you must work hard, you're going to allow magic to occur and things that are sci-fi and things that you never thought possible. Oh, wait, no, you're not. You're going to make sure that it's not easy like that because that would be too easy. You're going to make sure that it takes a lot of work because, you know, you can't just make something float and you can't just show up somewhere without driving in a car through terrible traffic or, you know, walking really long distances or riding a bicycle and exerting lots of effort and force. Now, speaking of which, one of my very favorite experiences of the 9 Trannies, so apparently I am going to talk a little bit about it. Let's call it like transmogrification. I think I'm saying that right. I always forget which one is what. They're very large words. You know, any words that have more than 3 syllables, I have a difficult time remembering a whole lot about them. So like transmogrification, that's like 8 syllables. It's probably only 4. No, I'm not doing it. So I was riding a horse through the woods in Costa Rica, and I lost something, or my friend lost something, and I went looking for that thing after the horse ride, but I went walking to look for it. And when I did, I realized, wow, this is a much farther distance. Like, obviously riding on a horse, everything felt farther. The hills felt steeper. The time it took felt much longer. It was like everything was warped. Now you're like, yes, Connor, but you were on a horse, so it was easier. Yeah, but how much do you use that to dismiss the moments and times when you're actually functioning from the 9 trannies? Oh my goodness. Why am I talking to you guys like this? I'm giving up way too much information. Send me some money. Would you please just give it to me? Well, hey. And you're like, well, Connor, you're talking about magic. Why don't you just make it come out of thin air? I'm asking, you are my thin air, huh? Come on. If your name is thin air, send me some money, eh? Why does it have to be made out of thin air? Why can't it be made out of thick air? Or like any kind of air? So I'm really glad that I'm able to talk as long as I have so far about the 9 trannies without actually talking about a whole lot. Because to me, this really is the most interesting news in the world. I'm like, literally everything else is so boring. So boring. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. And you know, the thing that I think is extremely interesting is I thought for sure that people at like Comic-Con, people that were interested in superheroes and comic books and Dungeons and Dragons and magic and all these like fantasy and sci-fi things, I thought that they would be interested in access consciousness, but they're not. They're interested, most of them, in actually only maintaining it as like this mental reality, not actually creating it here, which is odd. They would rather it be, they're like, no, don't bring my video game to the real world. Don't bring my books, my card games, and my comic books and my movies to the real world. What are you doing? Huh. I just realized that I think that I hung my drapes off level. Oh. Either they're off level or my ceiling isn't level. I cannot believe I haven't noticed that until right now. That's weird. Okay. Back to the subject at hand. Or like X-Men. Oh my God. I mean, I love those movies. And like The Matrix. I love all these movies because I know all of that stuff is possible. And yet I keep trying to act like I should probably, act like other people and act like, yeah, no, that's only in movies. So how many of you watching this right now are acting like other people? Yeah. Cool. So 9 trannies. How are you going to let them show up in your life? You can't unless you get the class. Now, I'm also not a facilitator of the 9 trannies, but this is just really up in my world. Why? Because we just finished the class like 2 days ago. So let me get back to the subject at hand. 2.5 hours a day, and it felt, not even felt, because it felt like we did so much. But when I say felt like we did so much, you're kind of like bastardizing the fact that you really did do so much because you're acting like you don't know how much you did when you really did a lot. Whew. Wow. We talked about concepts. No, I shouldn't say concept. We talked about stuff that I had been hoping would show up in a class and wanting to show up in a class for at least, well, as long as I've been doing this. So a whole decade. That's so exciting. Oh my God, I wonder what the next decade has in store. Ooh. Oh, this is good. Oh, this is so good. Now, on a side note, I shouldn't, no. On a side note, I will be doing I'm not exactly sure. I would really like to be doing about 4 book clubs right now, all simultaneously. That's what would be fun for me. And I'm like, I don't know if anybody would show up. Um, but maybe we can figure something out with that. The 4 book clubs would be 10 Keys to Total Freedom, Salon de Femme, Gentleman's Club. Gentleman's Club? Really? Huh. I didn't even realize I was going to say that. And Divorceless Relationships. 10 Keys to Total Freedom, Salon de Femme, Gentleman's Club, and Divorceless Relationships. Maybe there was a different one in there. Maybe just 3. Oh my god, I was thinking 3. Apparently we're going to do Gentleman's Club too, because that like just came out of my mouth. I didn't even, huh. All right, well, so if you're someone that's interested in one of those or all of those or a part of those, send me a shout out or something. Actually, maybe I would rather do the Lady Book than Gentleman's Club, but Gentleman's Club fell out of my mouth. Whatever. So, because I'm just finishing up on my Getting Out of Debt Joyfully book club, and I just love these book clubs. They're just so much fun. I love doing about 1 call per month, because it gives me a lot more space personally, and it creates a lot more space on the subject. Like a lot of people are really wanting to get through a subject fast. Like, I want to finish. I've been doing the Getting Out of Debt Joyfully book club for over a year now, and I have some people in there who haven't even picked up the book and started reading it yet. Now they're supposed to. That's a part of their job for the book club. But I can't like run over there and force someone to read. Like, how do you force anybody to read? Like, put the book in front of their face and go, read it. So, maybe I got like, there's a 9 training for forcing people to read stuff. No, not happening. They just want me to give it to them. That's fine. That's why we're going to do these book clubs. And the 10 Keys to Total Freedom, I've wanted to do that for pretty much ever, and nobody ever joins, so I might just have to do that one by myself. So if you want to come, or if you know anybody that would be interested, especially that, if you know anyone that would be interested in any one of those book clubs, please let them know. I'm going to be doing one very soon. You can check me out at accessconsciousness.com/Connor Hill. Just as you see right there. accessconsciousness.com/Connor Hill. I must say, I am so grateful for Super 7 TV having me here. You guys are amazing. Love you lots. I wish you know how to say love you lots in Turkish. So glad you guys have me on this. This is just such a contribution to my life, such a contribution to the world. And I would like to know, how can I contribute to you? So for all of you here, how can I contribute to you? Lord, give me the 9 trannies. I'll do my best. Now, what else is the most interesting news in the world? I've been talking about this 9 trainees class all freaking day. What else is the most interesting news in the world? To me, right now, well, we did do an Elugar raffle. 3 people won. 3 things were won. One of them was I can't remember. One of them was 2 nights at the castle in Castello di Casalbogone, which is in the north of Italy, just about an hour outside of Torino. I was there last year for the gala, the New Year's gala. Best damn party I've ever been to in my entire life, yet so far, because they're going to have another one this year, New Year's Eve. Details will be released. Well, oh shit, I'm not supposed to say. I think it's invitation only. Oops. Well, if you want to get the invite, at least maybe you should sign up on their website. So just Google search Castello di Casalbogone if you want to get involved in the gala. It's amazing. So, 2 nights at the castle were given away on the raffle. And if you're interested in the raffle, oh my goodness, you're like, Connor, all you're doing is selling stuff. I like to talk about the things that I think are great. What can I say? And I want to give you guys the ability to do them too. Message me if you want to know information about the raffle. So, most interesting news in the world. Elugar. There's a scheduled 6-day event at Eluga Resort. It's not finished. The resort is not finished, but there is an event going on at the start of October. So that's 2 months. Wow. Again, I talked about a decade ago. Conversations we're having in Nine Trannies. A decade ago is when I found out about El Lugar. So which basically says a lot of things that I have requested 10 years ago are beginning to show up. This is awesome. Which basically points to one of my favorite things that Gary Douglas has ever said, that really, like, when I was like down deep, beating myself up, thinking I suck at life, thinking I sucked at making money, thinking I sucked at everything. He said, if you can find 5 things that you know you have created, whether they were good or bad or whatever, just simply through choice or just you created them. What makes you think you cannot create your life exactly as you would like to have it? Double mic drop. You. What makes you think? So start looking. What do I know I've created in my life? Now, I know I've created, the reason I say this is because I'm like, wow, I started creating them 10 years ago. I really wanted them to show up like now, immediately. Gosh darn it. WTF, friggin' A, why isn't I here already? Notice the difference in the energy. And now I'm like, you know what? It's here. And with this acknowledgement of these things showing up, if they've taken a decade, whatever. If the other things that I would really like to take another decade or 50 years or 100 years, whatever, it's really not that big of a deal to me anymore, because just the solace of knowing that it will be created because I've asked for it, that's pretty freaking cool. And the relaxation into the possibilities of asking for whatever, wow, whatever it takes to bring that to fruition. The fun and joy of it, the ease, joy, and glory of it is just phenomenal. So that's the most interesting news in the world I have for you today. I hope to see you next time, next Wednesday, same time, same place. The most interesting news in the world. Ciao.